I like to rub my body in pure grain alcohol after a bath, but do not do so regularly. Hello everyone, my name is Taylor and this is the first video in a series called How Did People First React To? The purpose of this series is to reflect on how our perception of many things changes over time. Many ideas, behaviors, and items that are normal and ubiquitous today were not always the case throughout history. Knowing this, I hope these videos can help people approach new things with an open and curious mind. In this video, we're going to be answering the question, how did people first react to deodorant? Let's get started. Long ago in 1888, an unknown inventor from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania created the first modern deodorant called Mum. It was a paste containing antibacterial zinc oxide. Applying this to one's underarms would limit the growth of bacteria which causes body odor. This product was sold in many drugstores but was not prevalent in American society. Things would soon change when Dr. Abraham Murphy from Cincinnati, Ohio, created a lotion to stop palms from sweating whilst performing surgeries. By suspending aluminum chloride in an acid base, Dr. Murphy had created the first antiperspirant. His daughter, Edna Murphy, tried applying the concoction to her armpits. She noticed that not only did it stop her armpits from sweating, but it also kept them smelling fresh. In 1909, Dr. Murphy registered for a trademark called Odorono to take his creation to market. In 1910, Edna Murphy delved into entrepreneurship and decided to sell Odorono as a consumer product. She borrowed some money and opened an office in Cincinnati, but unfortunately, she was met with very limited success. Back then, most people believed that they didn't need an antiperspirant and that using a product to limit sweat was actually harmful to one's health. Similar to today, many people believed that sweating was essential in removing toxins from the body. Using this reasoning, people believed that applying a product that stopped one from sweating would also cause the accumulation of toxins in the body. This incorrect idea was also held by many health professionals at the time. These challenges made getting sales very hard for Edna. Unable to pay her rent, she moved her business back home. Many of the bottles of Odorono stocked in drugstores were returned to her on account of not being sold. Sales were slow, but she didn't quit. In the summer of 1912, Edna saw an opportunity. She was going to exhibit Odorono in Atlantic City, New Jersey. She had paid some exhibitioners to demonstrate and sell the product throughout the summer. In the beginning, sales were slow, but as the heat intensified and people started sweating through their clothes, sales began to pick up. This allowed them to sell over $30,000 in product or over $850,000 adjusted for inflation. The influx of money allowed Edna to advertise all over the nation. In 1914, Edna took out a loan of $50,000 or equivalent to $1.4 million today and hired the J. Walter Thompson Ad Agency to conduct an ad campaign. JWT assigned James Young to handle the Odorono account. Initially, James Young focused on dispelling the idea that antiperspirant was unhealthy. He also stressed the fact that Odorono was developed by a doctor. This marketing worked, and within 1 year of Young's involvement, sales rose to $65,000 a year or $1.8 million today. Edna's business was doing very well until 1919 when sales began to stagnate. In response to the flatlining sales, James Young came up with a radical idea. By conducting a door-to-door survey, Young discovered that every woman knew of Odorono, but only about 1 out of 3 used the product. The other 2 out of 3 said that they felt that they didn't need it. Young used this information to craft a new message. He decided to convince the remaining 2/3 of women that sweating was a serious social embarrassment, which could be remedied by using Odorono. By using FUD, or better known as fear, uncertainty, and doubt, Young crafted the public's perception to his ideas. In Young's Within the Curve of a Woman's Arm, published in the 1919 edition of the Ladies' Home Journal, his ad copy included, "Would you be absolutely sure of your daintiness?" and "For it is a physiological fact that persons troubled with perspiration odor seldom can detect it themselves. Fastidious women who want to be absolutely sure of their daintiness have found that they cannot trust their own consciousness." This ad upset many women when it was published because people didn't feel comfortable discussing bodily fluids in 1919 society. 200 Ladies' Home Journal readers canceled their subscription because they were so offended. In a memoir, James Young said that the women in his social circle stopped talking with him. Other female co-workers told him he had insulted every woman in America. But the efficacy of his actions could not be ignored. His strategy worked. Sales for Odorono rose 112% to $417,000 in 1920, or approximately $6.1 million today. Using this new strategy of convincing women that they would be unpopular from not using Odorono, Edna's business was doing great. In 1927, the company's sales just reached $1 million or $14 million today. 2 years later, she would sell the company to North & Warren, the makers of Q-Tex. As time progressed, the industry became more overt in their marketing message. In 1939, one Odorono ad portraying an attractive woman who didn't wear antiperspirant read, "Beautiful but dumb." She has never learned the first rule of long-lasting charm. Another advertisement from the Mum brand read, "You're a pretty girl, Mary, and you're smart about most things, but you're a bit stupid about yourself. You love a good time, but you can seldom have one. Evening after evening, you sit at home alone. You've met several grand men who seem interested at first. They took you out once, and that was that. There are so many pretty Marys in the world who never seem to sense the real reason for their aloneness. In this smart modern age, it's against the code for a girl, or a man either, to carry the repellent odor of underarm perspiration on clothing and person. It's a fault which never fails to carry its own punishment: unpopularity." This type of ad copy would later be known as whisper copy. One important thing about these ads is that they were all targeted to women. While some of these would make subtle jabs at men, it would take years until men became the focus. At the time, body odor for men was still considered standard and part of being masculine. A survey was conducted in 1928 to collect the opinions of deodorant and antiperspirant from JWT's male employees. One responder said, "I consider a body deodorant for masculine use to be sissified." Another respondent said, "I like to rub my body in pure grain alcohol after a bath, but do not do so regularly." What? Many companies knew that if they could change the public's perception of men using deodorant and antiperspirant products, they would also increase their profits significantly. Not long after, the first deodorant for men, Top Flight, was released in 1935 according to Carrie Castile. Similar FUD-based strategies and marketing was employed on men as well. America was undergoing the Great Depression during the 1930s, and many men were worried about losing their employment. Savvy advertisers used this fear to their advantage by telling men that body odor can negatively impact their professional careers. Castile says the Depression shifted the roles of men. Men who had been farmers or laborers had lost their masculinity by losing their jobs. Top Flight offered a way to become masculine instantly, or so the advertisement said. With this, many new products were introduced to the market, such as Shun, Hush, Veto, and Slick, to name a couple. Marketing for these early products focused heavily on distancing themselves from their feminine equivalents. However, these products paved the way for modern well-known brands such as Axe, Dove, Degree, and Old Spice. Even to this day, deodorant and antiperspirant products are still marketed separately for different genders. According to Emma Davis of ScienceFocus.com, there is no chemical difference between men and women's deodorant. The only things that differ between products are packaging and scents. Another interesting thing is that many women, my girlfriend included, prefer to use men's deodorant. A simple Google search yields many articles of women that swear by the use of men's deodorant over the female equivalents. Some say they prefer the smells, others say they're cheaper, and some just perceive them to work better. Kevin George, a vice president and general manager for Unilever Deodorants, told USA Today, "You have to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. If you're a brand for everybody, you're a brand for nobody." Who knows? In the future, public perception may change to where having unisex deodorant is the norm. Until then, it seems like deodorant or antiperspirant products are here to stay. Many people today perceive deodorant and antiperspirant products as essential to their daily routines. I can speak personally that I have felt self-conscious raising my arms when my armpits were stinking. Who knew that these feelings were just a result of clever advertising and social engineering? Could any of you imagine a world where body odor was the norm? Leave a comment down below and share your thoughts. If you have a topic for a video, leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good one.